All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Deontay Wilder cheating Tyson Fury and whether or not this guy is going to fight anybody or retire instead of fighting Deontay Wilder, because several members of his team who they say had contracted COVID were out and about at the McGregor fight, seen in airports, not in any way looking like they have COVID. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because of the past of Tyson Fury. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get into the subject matter of the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video. It really does do a lot towards growing the channel. And this particular video is, I want to say it's fun because I like when I have emotion behind certain topics. And this Tyson Fury pulling out of the Deontay Wilder fight is definitely an emotional and it's an exciting topic. It's not exciting in a good way, it's exciting in a bad way. But you know, with the state of boxing, you know, you just got to take things as they come. And in this particular instance, we're talking about being able to witness the greatest liar in the history of professional boxing. And I mean the greatest liar. I do not mean definitely not the only liar, and he's not the person that is lying, who has lied the most. Lying the most, that would be Bob Arum. But the greatest liar, that is Tyson Fury, because he tells these big whoppers that absolutely nobody in their right mind should believe. So in this particular instance, when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury had their fight scheduled, a fight, by the way, that Tyson Fury fought tooth and nail to get out of, he comes up after getting knocked out, according to rumors, knocked out in sparring by Jared Anderson. He says that he's caught COVID, and the COVID has been caught by several members of his team. So of course you look and say, all right, Tyson, if somebody else had said that, we could believe that. If Manny Pacquiao said that he had to pull out of the Errol Spence fight because he had COVID, I would believe it. If Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez were fighting and Canelo Alvarez had to pull out because he said he had COVID, I would believe it. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, is somebody with such a history of wild lies that I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. And it's specifically, I don't believe this one because of what has transpired since he told that lie. Now, first, why do I say that he is I think the guy may be a pathological liar, but he definitely has a pathology of lying. I know that for sure. So first, he tells this, like, for example, just give a couple of examples of these big wild lies that Tyson Fury likes to say and seemingly come up off the top of his head. And he puts it out in the media, and for some reason, the mainstream boxing media reports it and acts like it has any credibility whatsoever. One great example of it is, besides this COVID test that he says that he tested positive for, despite the fact that he was already vaccinated for it. So he's vaccinated. His team is vaccinated. Somebody comes in and gives them this rare form of COVID, that will infect somebody that is already vaccinated, and then also give it to several members of his team, right? But that's the same, and right off the cuff, most people did not believe that because the dude had tried to get out of the fight before. But another big lie that the guy had told was the lie about when he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs after the Christian Hamer fight. He tells the British Boxing Board of Control, I didn't ingest steroids. What I did was I ate uncastrated wild boar meat, right? Uncastrated wild boar meat. Now, it just so happens that that lie doesn't work because there are no wild boar in the UK, in the region that he said he was in. And he says that wild boar meat was sold to him by a man named Martin Carefoot. Martin Carefoot originally said that he did, but then after Tyson Fury lied to him, he said, no, I'm recanting what I said, and I'm just going out and telling you what the truth is. The truth was that Tyson Fury's camp offered him $25,000 to tell that lie, or to at least to stick with that lie, and they never paid the money. So there's lie number one, having somebody testify that you ate wild boar meat. And then number two, the lie is that you were going to pay the guy and you didn't even pay the guy. So now we're to lie, gigantic lie. And there's the other, what's the other gigantic lie? Is the whole setup with Deontay Wilder and the cheating. You could go on and on and on, for days about that stuff. But this particular instance, this is what I see. After Jared Anderson and Joseph Parker were both seen out, I think Jared Anderson was seen at an airport looking perfectly fine, right? No signs of COVID. In order to get in to the airport, they have to ask you, have you tested positive for COVID? And the answer to that is no, is yes. They're not going to let you on the plane. They're not going to let you in they're not going to let you into the main portion of the airport. They'll stop you right there and ask you to leave or do whatever they do when somebody says, yes, I've had COVID. They're like, oh no, I'm sorry. We got to quarantine you. We can't allow you to get on this plane and infect everybody else. And then how about just natural human decency on the part of Joseph Parker and Jared Anderson would prevent them from being somewhere out in public if these guys had COVID. And it was reported that Joseph Parker was one of the people that had it. And Jared Anderson, as we know, was in the camp and was responsible for knocking out Tyson Fury. So all of this comes around to this. Tyson Fury is somebody that needs to be thrown out of the sport of boxing. Number one, the dude is a liar. Just a ridiculous liar, and somebody that is massively insecure about his abilities. Because at 6'9", 300 pounds, to cheat the way that this man cheated against Deontay Wilder, and according to many reports, he did the same thing in sparring by loading his glove. Not by many reports, but specifically was accused by Nicholas Ashbury of loading his gloves in a sparring session. Now, as much money as Tyson Fury is willing has to spend in court sessions, like with Deontay Wilder in the arbitration and almost bankrupting the British Boxing Board of Control, in an effort to defend his wild lies justifying his steroid use, which, by the way, Tyson Fury is on tape saying that he believed everybody in sports was taking performance enhancing drugs, which is a way, again, just to justify what he's doing. But regardless, Tyson Fury, massively insecure, and I personally believe that he will retire before he fights Deontay Wilder. Now, as much as these boxing media people are out there talking about what a great fighter Tyson Fury is and all that, you keep going off that assumption that Deontay Wilder's just not telling the truth, even though you see gloves flopping all off this man's hand if you want. But I'm telling you, it's very, very likely that Tyson Fury will retire before fighting this Deontay Wilder fight. And he will take the financial ramifications, being the kind of knucklehead that he is, he'll take the financial ramifications just because he's stubborn and doesn't want to get in there, and he doesn't want to get hurt. Because, of course, with Deontay Wilder, he can hurt you and really hurt you badly, as Tyson Fury found out every time he got a clean punch landed on him, even though he had these big floppy gloves which extended his range and kept Deontay Wilder further away from him. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.